Just like we ask teachers, students, and school personnel to reflect on their learning, we as mentors should be willing to take a look at our own practice, identifying what we do well and what opportunities we have for growth. For the next 30 minutes, you will use the provided mentoring standards to reflect on current mentoring practice and identify ways to strengthen your skills as a mentor. At this time, we would like to do a materials check. Please be sure that you have gathered your packet of mentor standards, your packet of reflection sheets, a highlighter, and something to write with. Our goals for you during this process are that you are able to read, reflect, and write about your personal progress on the mentoring standard of your choice, and that you're able to develop next steps to move your mentoring practice forward with the mentoring standard you chose. There are 6 mentor standards that guide us through self-reflection of our own practice as mentors. These standards also give us the opportunity to set goals, help us to develop our next steps in reaching those goals, and allow us to experience continued growth as mentors. As I read through the following slides of each mentoring standard, follow along in your own mentor training standards packet. Standard 1 is, facilitates and advances the professional learning of each teacher to increase student learning. Basically, this standard involves helping your mentee help their students. Standard 2 is, creates and maintains collaborative and professional partnerships to advance teaching practice and student learning. This standard is all about building and maintaining relationships with your mentee. Standard 3 is, utilizes knowledge of standards, pedagogy, and research to advance teaching practice and student learning. The components of this standard outline how you share your own experience and knowledge to help your mentee become more effective. Standard 4 is, promotes professional learning for teachers for continuous improvement and student learning. The content of this standard may be less familiar to you depending on your own role. However, it's basically about leading and designing professional learning for mentees. Standard 5 is, uses assessment data to advance teacher practice and student learning. No matter what your role is, use of data plays an important part in advancing student learning and professional practice. This standard involves using various types of data to help your mentee help their students. The last standard is, develops as a professional leader to advance mentoring and the profession. This standard outlines components of professionalism within the mentoring role. I'm going to be modeling the process we would like you to use when reflecting on your own practice. I have chosen Mentor Standard 6. Please take a minute to find Standard 6 as well as the reflection sheet for Standard 6, which looks like this. To model the process, we selected Mentor Standard 6, Component 4. Demonstrates and maintains mentor responsibilities, integrity, and ethical conduct. I'll begin by taking time to read through the bulleted statements under Emerging Exploring, Applying, and Integrating Innovating, highlighting key terms and phrases that I believe reflect my current practice. This can be both areas of strength and opportunities for growth. Feel free to code this whatever way works for you. I will be using green to highlight strengths and pink to highlight opportunities for growth. After reading through the rubric for Standard 6 Component 4, I will use the companion reflection page to identify more specific details about strengths and areas for growth. For instance, one area of strength was meeting with my mentee on a weekly basis. It became a meeting he looked forward to, and we were able to problem solve some of the issues he was facing. I tried to be as proactive as possible, thinking about upcoming events or issues he may be facing, but always tried to be flexible to his current needs. My area for growth was in the area of knowing and meeting my requirements as a mentor and helping my mentee build his own knowledge of his requirements. This was a new role for me, and I wasn't always confident in knowing the mentor program guidelines. On further reflection, I really wasn't purposeful about guiding him through his responsibilities, the contractual agreements, or our code of ethics. After rereading the pieces of this standard, I can also say that my own integrity as a mentor was always high. I took confidentiality very seriously and always tried to be a model of integrity and professionalism as I worked with my mentee. Now that you've seen the reflection process modeled, we would like for you to do the same. Remember, we only modeled Component 4 of Standard 6. We would like you to select a standard that you would personally like to reflect on, knowing that you will reflect on each component within that standard. Using the standards packet and the reflection packet, please stop the video and take time to read, highlight, and write your own strengths and areas for growth in each of the components. Now that you've reflected on the standard of your choice, we'd like you to think about some of your next steps. As you think about moving forward in some areas you have identified as opportunities for growth, what might be some specific next steps that you can identify? What support might you need to accomplish these steps? Please take time now to pause the video and make a more specific plan that addresses these areas. Be sure to include timeframes, resources or support needed, and how you'll know that you've met your goal. As we wrap up this section of the training, we'd like to encourage you to repeat this process of reflection on each of the remaining 5 standards. As stated at the beginning of this section, reflecting on our practice as mentors mirrors what we ask our mentees to do and provides us the opportunity to continually celebrate our growth and challenge ourselves to continuously improve as mentors.